You did everything right. You were consistent. You were kind. You were present. And she still pulled away. That's the part that breaks men, not the losing her, the not understanding why. This is for men who are tired of being told to just be yourself, when being themselves clearly isn't working, because the answer isn't to change who you are. The answer is to understand what was missing that you didn't even know to look for. Here's the first reason. You made her feel safe, but not chosen. Picture this. You're 2 months in. You're reliable. You check in. You show up when you say you will. She feels looked after. But somewhere around week 6, something quiet shifts in her. She starts to feel like she's in a relationship with someone who needs her to stay, not someone who genuinely wants her to. Those two things feel completely different to a woman. Needing her to stay communicates fear of loss. Wanting her communicates desire. And desire for women is not about grand gestures. It's about whether she can feel that you actually see her, specifically her, and that she's not just filling a role you need filled. Safety without desire creates comfort. Comfort without desire creates distance, and she will start to feel that distance before she can name it. The shift here is small, but it changes everything. Stay curious about who she actually is, not just grateful that she's there. The second reason is one most men never consider. Your certainty became her ceiling. She was attracted to you in part because you seemed solid, certain, grounded. But at some point, you stopped growing in a way she could feel. Not because you stopped being a good man, because your world stopped expanding. You had no new territory she could watch you move into. Women are drawn to direction, not just stability. A man who is moving toward something carries a quality she wants to be near. A man who has arrived somewhere and simply stayed there can start to feel like a closed door. This is not about achievement. It is about aliveness. The question she is asking, usually without knowing it, is this man still becoming someone? The answer to that question shapes how she experiences the future of the relationship. There is a video on this channel that goes directly into this. It is called The Effortless Quality Some Men Have That Women Are Drawn to Naturally, and it covers exactly what this kind of aliveness looks and feels like in practice. I will link it at the end. The third reason is this. She lost the version of you she first felt. In the beginning, you had edges, opinions, you made decisions, you took up space in the conversation and in the dynamic. And then, slowly, because you liked her and didn't want to mess it up, you started softening those edges. You started agreeing more, initiating less, making yourself a little smaller so she'd feel comfortable. She did feel comfortable, but she also stopped feeling the pull. Attraction requires polarity. That doesn't mean conflict. It means a felt sense that there is a real person across from her, with a center of gravity of his own. When that center disappears, she stops having something to move toward. And that is when women describe the connection as feeling flat, even when nothing went wrong. Come back to yourself, not as a strategy. Because a man who knows who he is regardless of her response is genuinely more attractive than one who has shaped himself around her comfort. The fourth reason is the hardest one to hear. She was testing whether you knew your own worth, and your patience told her you didn't. There were moments when the relationship asked less of her than it should have. Moments when something crossed a line and you absorbed it, not because you didn't notice, because you didn't want to rock things. And what she read in that wasn't generosity. It was a man who didn't quite believe he deserved more. A woman cannot respect a man more than he respects himself. That's not cruel. It is simply how attraction works. When a man holds his standard quietly but firmly, she registers it. When he lets it go to keep the peace, she registers that too. You were a good man throughout all of it. That was never the question. The question was whether you knew it, and whether she could feel that you did. If this gave you something real, this video is the natural next step. It goes into exactly what that self-respect looks and feels like in the early stages of dating, when it matters most. It is on screen now. I'll see you there.